What's up, everyone? It is the Tesla Beat 106. And of course, as we know, there is never a dull moment in the Tesla land. Every week, there's always something new going on. And next week, we have the earnings call coming up. How's it going, Hans, Brian, and X Takeover, or more like FOMO Joe? How's it going?
Well, what a week it's been. Doing good. I'm actually heading out of town for a family reunion this weekend. So I get to, exercise my FSD, but sadly must do so grockless, which is great because it would have been a fantastic excuse to inundate the family with the experience.
I want to know how it's going to respond to open butthole. If it's still going to do the same thing or do something else.
Well, they said it doesn't have any vehicle commands yet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, at least, yeah, you can have it tell you stories, do whatever, and who knows? At some point, we'll have some companions inside the car as well.
A viewer shared with me some experiences he had with it last night in unhinged mode, and that's the right way to describe it.
Oh man! All right, yeah, I'm like checking my Model X to see if I got it yet.
Yeah, Unhinged has always been crazy.
All right, well, let's jump into it. Not me, but this. Oh, jeez. Okay.
Got it?
Let's jump into it. There it is. Tesla Beat number 106. Okay, Tesla stock at 326. It had about a 4% bump today, 3.5 or something like that. So up from 308 week over week. And it is only down 14% year to date. And again, I remind you, I looked at what it was a year ago. It's up 30% from a year ago. The decline is really due from the insane run up a lot of these stocks had during the early inauguration days this year. So that's partially why there's like those huge run ups. I think Tesla peaked at like 480 even in December, something like that. So, they're kind of working out of a hole that kind of, had a high clip, or it was kind of like a mountain that it was coming off of during after the election. One quick thing I want to just quickly do is shout out to Insta360 for sponsoring this episode. Make sure you check the link below if you are interested in any of their products. You can see it follows me dynamically with the link to see. Can't ever forget that. And of course, Tesla land. Okay, so on the right, shout out to Joe again for making this deck. But on the right, you have the updated on the right. Last weekend, Tesla updated their geofence, and then I believe they actually doubled the size of Waymo. And then, of course, Waymo in response, they're on the left now, and they of course responded with an even bigger space than Tesla's. And of course, yes, the thing that you were looking at is really real. But yeah, what do you guys think about what's happening in Austin with the competition and with Waymo versus Robotaxi?
I'll jump in on that. I'll jump in on that one. It's
not everyone at once.
Well, we all have thoughts, man. No, the thing is, it's got, you're looking at a company that's infinitely flexible, that can take what they were going to do and adjust it because it's funny. And if that doesn't give the competition chills, it should. And the fact that they made it look like a Falcon Heavy, I think is great. Or maybe it's a T as viewed from Arkansas. Maybe it's a Phallus Heavy. I'm not sure. But the idea is that they can do whatever they want and it just works. Yeah, it's the fact that Waymo more than doubled their coverage map, to me, doesn't say strategic planning. It says desperation. Quick. How quick what can we do? We need to do something. And that's fun. It's fun to look at. It's like when T-Series was about to pass PewDiePie for most subscribers. People were like, let's all go and subscribe. And that kept him in #1 for like a week. And then T-Series blew past it. Distant view in the mirror. It's ridiculous. Never catch up again. And that's what I think Waymo is going to see is we don't know what the ratio of supervisors to vehicles is, but if it's reasonable, they can start scaling it. And as they improve it, we're seeing video today of Waymos driving the wrong way down a divided road on the wrong side of the barriers. If that was Tesla, oh my gosh, it would be front page on every publication in the world. How do you justify this reckless behavior on my roads? It's Waymo. Oh yeah, no, never mind. We're good.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious how O'Dowd hasn't mentioned any of the crap we've seen Waymo do, like even with the halting of, I mean, right in front of fire engines that needed to get past it. I mean, there's some crazy footage out there, but I mean, not to bag on Waymo, but I think competition breeds success. I mean, anything like this, I mean, you're looking at what happened. I mean, of course, out of desperation, they had to respond, but I mean, it's good for the customer, right? As long as they have the vehicles that can maintain it, that's good for them. And you just know that, I mean, Tesla's going to do nothing but make vehicles. Waymo doesn't even make vehicles. So it's good. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens going forward. Hans?
Yeah, I mean, the vehicles point is the biggest thing in all of it. That Waymo is wanting to expand in Miami, they're wanting to expand in Austin, but we've noticed with these expansions that they are limiting themselves to being available on the Uber app. And so they can have a big coverage area, but I guarantee you they didn't add any meaningful number of cars to Austin. And so now the likelihood that if you want to go down to Austin and you would like to hail an Uber, your chances just went down, not up, that you're actually going to get a Waymo, because they have a lot more area to cover with essentially the same number of cars. And so that's going to be the thing that's going to differentiate Tesla versus Waymo in this season of expansion. You know, and there's going to be fits and starts and all kinds of things. So I'm sure there will be choppy signals that, you know, people can latch onto and say, hey, I mean, just like this today, oh my gosh, Waymo's absolutely, they can scale just as fast as Tesla and they're totally going to win. They're going to destroy everyone. You know, they've been offering this service for so much longer. They've got, 10 million paid miles or whatever it is. It's like, okay, sure. Yeah. How many cars? How many cars? How many cars?
Yeah, I think you hit it right on. You really hit it in the right spot, because that's the thing. They can double the coverage, triple the coverage. They could make it the whole size of the geofence, the size of Texas. They don't have the cars to scale, and so even if they scale it, you're going to be kind of like, I think originally when the robo taxi launched, right? I think we waited 7 minutes maybe for our first ride, and some of the other rides were a little bit longer. But Tesla can scale in a way that the rides will not be an issue long term. Sorry, the wait times, versus Waymo could triple their geofence and it won't matter because they don't have enough cars. There, as Joe said, that there's a concept, a second and third concept that they're working on with, what is it, Zeekr or what? Some of these other companies.
Yeah, there's Hyundai. I think the next one is Hyundai, and then the one after that is Zeekr on the docket.
Yeah, so it's just, like I said, it's, competition's good. That's why I'm happy that this is happening. But again, it's just, I think we're all seeing, and we're going to get into some of the news a little bit later, some of the stuff that Uber and Lucid are doing and some other moves that are happening. But I think people are starting to see the reality, and it's a matter of time before Tesla will remove the supervised driver inside. But the reality is that this business model is a wrap once this stuff gets into a good spot and they get regulations to launch in each city. It's just, you cannot compete against this business model. It's and actually succeed. So it's going to be kind of like some of these other EV companies where you're just dumping money into something, and sure, it's R&D and you'll need it, and we need competition, but it's just not something that you're going to be able to do profitably.
Yeah, the whole bet comes down to, is Tesla actually able to create a functional robotaxi with a car that comes out of the factory just using their cameras and their FSD computers? If they can do that and it can match or exceed the performance of a Waymo, that is game over. It's just a matter of time. And there's a lot of people that say that it can't be done. I see robotaxis riding around right now in Austin. Now, there is a fair point to be made that Waymo has a lot more of these cars on the road. They have a lot more miles under their belt. And so, it's hard to be certain that Waymo or that Tesla is at the same level of quality that Waymo is, because you don't have enough data to really have a meaningful sample size to be able to say 100% certain, yes, Tesla's solution is there. And so that's really what the people that don't think that Tesla's going to be able to succeed, the only hope that they have is to say that the software is actually not going to succeed. And if you believe that the software, based on their current hardware setup, is sufficient, then it's just a matter of time. And that's why I've spent so much time trying to understand the way that these artificial intelligence systems of various types actually work, and understand things like the bitter lesson and scaling laws and these types of things, is because the bet at the end of the day just boils down to, can an artificial neural net actually be smart enough to do something that a human does at the level that humans do it, or better? And every application that we have tried to do that in eventually falls. And eventually the AI systems are doing whatever that thing is better than humans. Whether that's in chess, whether that's in Go, whether that's in, writing Shakespearean plays in the style of Shakespeare that are modern and up to date. And, all of these things we thought, computers will never be able to do that. It's only humans can do. And the history of artificial intelligence suggests otherwise. And so that's why, I believe that Tesla software is actually, it's probably already there. If it's not, it's going to be there within the next 6 to 12 months based on the rate of progress that things are being made. And so that's why, it's like the software is going to be good enough. So then if the car that drives off of the end of the manufacturing line is ready to be a robotaxi, then they're going to be able to reach scale that no one else can reach.
Yeah, I think people kind of forget that little part, that they just move at a different rate of speed, and they're just and it's really hard to keep up, but we'll see what happens.
Agreed. Joe, to you.
End of an era. Troy Jones. So after 15 years at Tesla, Troy Jones, a VP of North American Sales and Service, is leaving the company. This from the Wall Street Journal. So their headline was hilarious. But what I wanted to say is because as somebody who knew Troy and for the owners clubs, he was a very good advocate for what we do. Like I wrote here, bridging the gap between the community and Tesla itself after you purchase your vehicle. Like, he was just really, really a proponent of being there for us. And I hope that the person who's next up, realizes like what we bring to the table and has been able to see what happens from a club perspective and everything. So I just really look forward to seeing what happens next. And who knows how long the next person in line has been there or whatever, but I know a lot of these people put in a lot of time for Tesla, and I mean, 15 years is like ungodly. So kudos to him, man. He must have like a back of diamonds. Like, this is crazy.
Tesla years are not like regular years. They're more like dog years, or I guess hedgehog years, because they will age you. They will really, it's working at a company like this is a lot of work. It is exceptionally difficult. You are asked to do a lot is expected of you, and you will perform or you will not make it. And it's true, because if Tesla's on your resume, all the doors are open. You can go anywhere you want. You can write your own ticket.
Yeah, people love to shout that, oh man, everybody's jumping ship. But the truth of the matter is, like Brian says, and like we've all said before, I mean, these are hard years to invest into a company like that, and a company that moves so fast. I mean, yeah, you could go work for anybody else after this, and it's going to be the easiest work you've ever and your life
And
guaranteed.
people will brag. We have former Tesla engineers working on this project. It's a big deal. You don't you don't hear that with Radio Shack.
What's that? No, I'm joking. Go ahead, Hans.
Yeah, and the other thing is that there's way more people trying to get into Tesla than trying to get out. Like, there is a company of that size, like you're going to have some turnover. Like, it's impossible to have hundreds of thousands of employees and not have departures literally probably every day. Someone's leaving the company. And then, so, if it's only a couple of times throughout the year that we see these higher level people exiting the company, then that's actually a pretty reasonable ratio. And the other thing that I would just note is that we're like, the company right now is undergoing a radical change in what the core product and service is that is being delivered, that we're moving much more towards, obviously, robotaxi, so software delivered transportation as a service. Energy is going to be a big piece on this. And, it's not that the automotive sector is not going to be important moving forward. It is, but it's going to shift. And so, a lot of the core expertise and talent that has been at the company for a long time, as the company shifts, maybe there's someone who is below them who's better suited for whatever the actual goals and orientation and key skills are going to be necessary for this next phase too. So I think that's another thing that you see a lot of times when either a key project or the company as a whole is making big changes, that it is a time for people who are, have been there for a long time. If they don't want to sign up for another 5 years of grind on the next biggest, hardest thing that they can imagine, then it's a good time to say, hey, let's let some of these young whippersnappers who have been putting in the work, they're hungry, and maybe they actually have a better set of core competencies for this next project. Let's let them rise up and take a crack at it.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted. Yeah. Go ahead, Joe.
I was just gonna say, just real quick, to that point, it's really good to note that this company 15 years ago is definitely not the company you see today. So yeah, that's you're
2010
right on.
versus now. Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to say was, so I work in tech here in the Valley, and just a couple things, right? Like, I can't speak to exactly what it's like to work at Tesla. But first off, working at Tesla, from what I've heard and known, and just, being in somewhat of a similar situation, there was 5 years in my career. I've been in tech for 15 years, 5 years. It's like pretty much going into work every day, not knowing when you're going to get off, working ruthlessly, always on the clock. And again, I can only imagine it, but you're talking with Tesla, it's potentially 7 days a week. You might be at home with family. You get a call from Elon wants to do a meeting. You got to jump in. These are people that work ruthlessly, that want to make a huge difference. They want to work with the smartest and brightest people on the planet. Some people are potentially even taking a pay cut to work for a person like Elon. So it really, and again, the companies in the Valley, when they see Tesla on your resume, they know more than any other tech company that first off, if you hire them, they're not going to be probably working as hard as that they were at Tesla as they are going to be when they come to your company. So at least, even if you get a 90% of what they were doing previously at Tesla, you're going to be still getting, the best person you can find. And it's just also one of those things where, Tesla runs in a way with rigor where everyone is in the weeds, all the way from Elon all the way down to, just the regular engineer. And Elon will talk with the entry level engineer if he needs to get into the weeds to fully understand what's going on. And that's why I love Tesla's business model in that way, where it's, if a leader has to step off, typically the leads underneath that executive can at least step in and know what's going on, because they are neck deep in the items as well. I did want to give a special shout out to Troy, though. He's been a personal friend and huge advocate of the Tesla Owners Program, our club. There's a lot that he has helped enable behind the scenes to make some really special things happen. I'll shed some light on that. Like the Cybertruck getting to the Austria event, that was some of his work, along with some of the stuff he did with some of the other leaders. And then we last year at Muskegon, he also enabled the first ever test drives in the Performance Model 3 refresh that we had. That was his doing. So, he really has helped enable these clubs to continue to elevate the brand. He's been a huge advocate, someone that you can reach out to. I've had customers who've hit me up that I've directed to him, that he's helped solve some of their issues. So, he's just been a great friend. I'm going to reach out to him. I know that this week, again, I'm not going to pretend to guess why he left. If it was just time to go, 15 years, which is, like 25 years anywhere else. But I'm just really thankful for all the work he did. And I know he definitely, after 15 years, has left an insane legacy in a good way at Tesla.
And let me just add that if he's been there for 15 years, that means that he's got stock options from early in the company. That, like, this dude has been mega independently wealthy for a long time. And to be willing to put in the work that is required at this level at Tesla after being financially independent for many, many years, that says a lot about his character. And just huge kudos and props. Like, that shows how much he cares about the mission, about the company, about the work. And we just have tons of thanks, appreciation, and respect for that.
I saw someone asking why would he leave now with Optimus around the corner, with Robotaxi around the corner, and miss out on that. And I said, well, first of all, he's not missing out. He's got the stock. But second of all, there's always something around the corner. When do you leave? It's like, do you break up right before Valentine's, right after? Her birthday's coming up? I don't know, man. You got to go at some point.
Yeah, no, those are all good points. I also want to point out that the Muskonomy, like, just that whole thing, when you think about like the PayPal mafia and all that type of stuff, and you look at what all these people who have put all this time into this company, what they branch out and do afterwards. I mean, we're looking at Redwood Energy and I mean, there's just all kinds of things with robotics and AI that these people have gone into. It's pretty freaking insane, like the things that Elon touches. And to Hans's point about retirement, like, I mean, Elon should have been retired 20 years ago, realistically.
That's what most billionaires do.
I mean, but this dude works 7 days a week, 365 days a year, man. It's like, it's freaking insane. Like that he does it at the level that he does it at continuously. Like people just don't have that in them. You know what I mean? Like, and you're talking about a guy with multiple divorces and things like that. You know what I mean? Like, this is like, it's not easy at Elon's level. So you just know at Troy Jones level and everybody else who left, it becomes like increasingly more difficult. So, I mean, kudos to Troy. Like everyone said, 15 years is a long time. It's going to be interesting to see what he does after this, because everything that Elon touches and the people, I mean, we've got so many things in our world because of the things that he touched and the people that he, I mean, his spider web of like connectivity that has increased our life, like, is crazy when you think about it. Just insane.
Yeah. And, I think you think of these executives. I mean, I know a couple of Tesla alumni that have already gone and done other things. So it's just one of those things where it kind of becomes, the people that ended up, spending and really giving, a decade or more, even 8 years, whatever, 7 years, they're going to be Tesla alumni at other places, right? And it's going to continue to make an impact. And I at least a decent amount of the ones that I've seen outside of remaining in tech, they'll still do something in the EV or like sustainability space. All right. So Tesla actually released a bunch of promotions last night. So shout out to Sawyer for summarizing this really and making it clear. But they put out their current offers. If you go to Tesla, I think it's _NA from North America. So just to highlight these, I'm going to run you guys through these real quick. So on the Model 3, again, also too, just caveating that you can get the federal tax credit up till 9/30. You have to take delivery. You can't, it's not an order. You have to take delivery before 9/30. So the Model 3, 18 months of free supercharging for cash only purchases. That's crazy.
Wild.
One free upgrade on eligible new inventory, only limited to on-site inventory while supplies last, and that they're going to fly like hotcakes. 0% for up to 60 months is available with the purchase of the FSD. Supervised 2.49% APR without the purchase of FSD. And just realize with the federal tax credit, like this is still good. So even if you don't buy it, like you're still even 2.5% is industry leading right now on auto loans. All right, that's the 3. The Y, so bear with me. 1 free upgrade on eligible new inventory. 3.5% APR on 60 months for purchasing, and then lease it for $349. Cybertruck, free 20-inch Cyber wheel upgrade. So, and again, this is only available for inventory lease orders only. So Tesla is just, again, they're going to move, in my opinion, this is going to be, they're pulling up a lot of demand. People are going to be buying. I think every car that is going to be produced, a lot of them are going to go. I'm not going to say every single one of them is going to go, but like they're going to move, especially here in the US. This is the time to potentially get in one. You know, if you need referral codes, they're all linked. And even Hans has his like showing on here. But yeah, it's you know, I think, what do you guys think about these promos, or just really even the federal tax credit ending and stuff?
I mean, thumbs up as far as I'm concerned. It makes sense that it's free supercharging or the interest promo, because you know, they both cost money. Just low interest isn't free. The company has to buy it down in advance. These are not quite as generous as what we saw maybe last quarter, but they don't have to be. I think there's going to be a rush for the September cutoff anyhow. This is just a gift, really, as far as I'm concerned. And the 1 free upgrade, I assume that means like a color choice or a wheel choice or something like that. All great.
Yeah, I'll add on to what Brian's saying, because there are levers that Tesla can pull. We see it all the time. It's not without understanding that this is a good deal for now. And for everybody who's screaming about like, oh man, these incentives are going away, keep in mind there was a whole year and a half Tesla had no incentives, and everybody else was still getting them, and Tesla was still selling crazy numbers. And we're going to get into the numbers a little bit later, but even with the year-over-year slump for EVs and auto sales in general, but EVs in particular, I mean, Tesla's still moving hundreds of thousands of units. And so like, that's not going to stop whether there's incentives or not. People will just buy the best vehicle for them. Like I said this in a post the other day when somebody was talking about, oh man, the Hummer EV outsold the Cybertruck. Well, the Hummer EV and the SUV together outsold the Cybertruck. But I think people have a misunderstanding about what Tesla needs to lead in, and Tesla doesn't need to lead in every category. They don't need to put the hammer down on everything they do. They are not the leaders in range. They are not the leaders in charging speed. They are not even the leaders in speed 0 to 60 times. That goes to the Madi Remat. So people need to understand that Tesla is where it's at because of what it is. These are without a doubt the safest vehicles on the planet. These are without a doubt like some of the best bang for your buck. And I think that's where Tesla is, and that's where the focus needs to be. I don't think people put too much on all these other things, but that's what I'll say.
I would agree with that. The thing is, I've seen people say Tesla used to be the leader and now it's not, because the Rimac is faster, or the Gravity is larger, or has better legroom, or all these different features you can find in another car. Is that right? But you can't Frankenstein them together, you mad scientist. You want the best overall. And in terms of what you get for the price, the value is pretty unbeatable. And at least for me, having been chauffeured around by my car, I can't go back to the old way, man. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, and also too, we, as much as I would love Tesla to spend all their time on making the best performance specific cars like the Roadster and the S and X and giving this huge refresh, it's not their mission, right? It's what they started. They always were going to do the Roadster, the S and the X as far as like R&D, but the whole point was for mass scale. That's always been their, and I hope they continue to invest in the S and X, but with as lean of teams as they run, they're going to be focused on the 90%. Elon has always even told me that back in when we interviewed him several times. Like when I would ask for updates, like software updates, it's even if I asked for something that, let's say it was for my S and X, if it was a legacy one, it's not going to get it. They're going to put that update on the Model 3 and the Model Y. And then, and then at some point they might do it for the S and X. Like, for example, if you think of the left and right blinker coming up on the front screen, that just came out in the past 3 to 6 months, whatever it's been. But the Model 3 and Y have had it for a year now. So it really is, Tesla's going to invest in, the areas that are going to be that 90%. And especially given the volumes that the SX and even Cybertruck are facing right now, it's not going to be the biggest priority. I do hope that the Cybertruck does get smart summon and then even park to park at some point. But, I'm also realizing that I'm part of the 100,000 Cybertrucks out there, 125,000 Cybertrucks out of 5 or 6 million cars. All right. So, Joe, did you want to say something?
No, that's just a crazy stat to think about. Like you think about like 100,000 Cybertrucks, you're like, oh man, that's great. But then you think about like Model Y, best-selling vehicle in the world, and the Model 3 is like number 2 behind. It's like millions of units. It's like not even close. It's crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah, SX and Cybertruck are such failures that they only outsold all the other pure EV plays in the US. So, I mean,
yeah, Tesla's failing miserably.
Yeah. Well, also too, I did want to, we talked about this last week, but remember, so Tesla delivered their, reported their delivery numbers and they were down 13 or 14%. But every other, EV company company that's producing EVs on EVs, they were all down even worse. Like Rivian was down like 22%. I think Ford was down 30%. So, this is, and Tesla's doing 10x the volume.
Like literally.
Okay, so if you are in the Hollywood area, and this is something that Elon has been talking about, a decade now, and it's so cool that this is really coming. The 1950s inspired diner is in Hollywood. It's going to have, 70 plus stalls or something like that, with a 24/7 diner going. And then you're going to have 2 large screens and even a rooftop seating so that you can just watch movies, have a milkshake, or even have maybe a classic burger or something. But this is going to be truly a spectacle. I can't imagine what it's going to be like to try to get in there in the first week or two. I mean, it's going to kind of wear off a little bit, but if you are a Tesla fan, you are going to be, and you live close by, you're going to definitely going to be checking this out.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's pretty incredible in person. Like, it's really cool to see.
All right, Joe, I'll pass this one to you.
Yeah, that Tesla got big, boy. Okay, so the Tesla Model Y, YL, is released in China. It's like bigger than the freaking Model X. It's the wheelbase. That's crazy. But kudos to Tesla. I didn't even think they would even change the lineup like this to expand the wheelbase. But then you're thinking like it's not really a frame; it's probably just a battery pack that they did. And like, I mean, like, man, that's still impressive. Like the headroom and everything, 6-seater, true 6-seater. Like that's impressive. What do you think, Brian?
I think I was deeply skeptical that they were going to make a longer wheelbase because there's been rumors of a longer wheelbase coming from China since before China even opened. That's something the Chinese market definitely wants, is a longer wheelbase. Now, we did see a buyer in, I think, Singapore, who bought a 7-seat Model Y and then had the second row taken out so he could make it into a luxury cabin, which is great. On this, I'm not worried about the legroom so much. Adding 7 inches is going to give you a decent amount of legroom, but I'm more worried about the headroom. We haven't seen interior pictures yet. This checks a lot of boxes for people. My big question was, when considering would there be a longer wheelbase, was, does that fit with more affordable models? And it depends how you count it. It's not a more affordable Y, it's more expensive, but it is a more affordable X by a lot, especially in China, where the X is hit with a massive import tariff. They can make this domestically. What impresses me the most is that they made the car that much bigger. They added more range, more battery, and the curb weight went up 209 pounds. That's not a lot. So they're still improving efficiency, still improving their engineering. It's just really great to see.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead, Hans.
I think, this is basically a perfect expansion to their lineup. This is one of those things that a lot of people want. This is going to fit inside that 80%, getting something that's a lot more in the realm of a Toyota Highlander in size than a RAV4. The market for that size vehicle is very significant, and to be able to serve that market on the existing Y lines all around the world, like, the United States is going to get this. I'm sure it'll be after the $7,500 tax credit goes away. But hey, such is life, people. If you need this car, you're going to have to pay up. And it is, to Brian's point, almost everything that you get in a Model X at a significantly lower price. So yeah, this is a great addition to the lineup. So if we can get a bigger Y, this was something that I've been speculating about for a while. If we can get a bigger Y, and now if we can get a smaller 3, then you really expanded the footprint of, the vast majority of cars that are bought really fit within that, hatchback, sedan, all the way up to decently sized, 6-seat SUV. If it's not a truck, the majority of cars are somewhere right in that lineup. And to be able to serve all that, like we said, off of the 3 and Y lines is what Elon has been hinting at for so long. I think this is a great first installment. I would like to hear more announcements, and I would have liked to see these vehicles sooner, obviously. But I think with the way that the EV tax credit stuff is shaping up, I think this is probably a smart way for them to manage the transition to adding this vehicle into the lineup.
Do we know, are there plans to bring the Model Y L to the US?
They haven't announced them yet, but it would be a very logical step. It was my belief that when they took the lines down for retooling, they retooled for this as well, so that they could have it in Europe and North America without too much trouble. It is possible that they would only make it out of one factory in the US instead of both, but I think they'd be able to scale it depending on what they need relatively easily. If it turns out to be the car that everybody wants, they could. I mean, we've seen how nimble they can be. They would get it out. What I haven't seen is timelines for any of that. And it's entirely possible that the traditional, the old school Model 3, Model Y with the third row is going to never return. And I think that's probably a good thing if you're looking at how tight it is back there, which I do regularly. And if they've got this option instead, I think it would just make sense to go ahead and keep the regular Y just like it is, long range, rear wheel drive and performance, and then have the third row model for the L.
With
my
all the
intuition on this, sorry, Joe,
go ahead.
is that Tesla wants to move away from the way that they rolled out changes in the past where China would get something a long time before the United States. We've seen that with the Model Y refresh, with the Highland refresh, that they have moved to where, it'll get announced in China first, but then the gap between when it actually arrives in market in China and when it arrives in market in the United States is pretty close. And so that's the reason that I say that I expect this to come to the US relatively quickly. But yeah, there hasn't been any announcements to say that. But it fits with the pattern of what they have done recently.
Yeah, for me, it's like I need to obviously see what the third row feels like, and how it compares to the X. But like for me, I love the Falcon Wing doors on the X. But if this is comparable and also more flexible, like the Model Y is the latest and greatest, baby tool. Like who knows? Maybe we upgrade. Not that I want to do that necessarily right now. It just but it actually could make more sense. So it's going to definitely continue. It could potentially cannibalize a lot of the X sales just because, there might not be that comparison that even makes sense to jump up that 20, 30K more.
Nothing times nothing, right?
Yeah. I was just going to say that. Cannibalize what X sells.
Hey, you never know. The 2000 that they'll do. No. But yeah. Joe, did you want to say something?
No, that's what I was gonna say. Was I was just thinking about that, like how this is just a good vehicle, and it just takes over that slot. So yeah, I think I don't think we're gonna see too much in terms of like what Brian was talking about, like a release or dates or anything like that, because with all the promos and stuff they got going on, I definitely don't think they want to like do that type of Osborne effect to anything that they're currently trying to move units on. So I don't think we're going to see anything yet for what's coming to America in terms of the YL or anything.
Yeah, like one thing, if they announce this in the US right now, people might, obviously they're going to want the people that want the tax credit are going to grab it now, but I would assume that this would be a Q3 thing potentially, a Q4 thing to announce it, but who knows?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, because they've said September, I think, for China. And one of the, I think this is also a great logical first, if they really do have a smaller Model 3 that's coming, doing a bigger Model Y first makes a lot of sense, because if you sell this in any significant volume, it's actually going to be a tailwind to average sale prices. And so if you can move average sale prices up by selling this more expensive Y in large volumes, then when you come back and you release that 3 that is smaller and it pulls it back down to the same level, you're not going, out of order and starting with the one that's going to pull them down first, and then raise them back up. So it helps with cash flow. And also I think that this vehicle, I guess, Brian, you might have some better insight on this. Which has more demand, 2 or 4 door hatchback or a 6-seat SUV? Like, I think that those are probably roughly the same size markets.
So in the US, the SUV is definitely going to be the bigger market. Globally, the hatchback is a very big market segment. For that matter, globally, the sedan is a very big market segment. I'm frankly surprised that we're not seeing more Model 3s sold. But I think what it comes down to is people don't know what it costs. They think it's still a $60,000, $80,000 car. Last weekend, I had the opportunity to let my friend Casey from the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association drive my Model 3. And he had no idea the kind of value that was in there. When he bought his Kia EV6, he didn't even look at Tesla, because as an electrician, he needs the power share because he does a lot of power share applications for his customers. He needs to be able to demonstrate that. But he didn't even look at Tesla because he didn't realize how affordable they are, how much car you get for the money. But yes, I would say the hatchback I think these two stand to be slightly more popular than the regular Model 3, and even slightly more popular than the regular Model Y. This is good.
Agreed. All right. So some other stuff that's happening in the robo-taxi space. Uber partners with Lucid, and this they're actually not only partnering with them. I think they invested $300 million into Lucid, and the stock shot up 40%. So the investment was already a good one for them. But Lucid made this tweet or post. Lucid's premium EVs, Neuro's proven L4 autonomy, Uber's global ride-hailing network. So they're going to partner together. Together, we're launching a next-gen robotaxi fleet, 20,000 vehicles starting in 2026. So we know that competition is good, and it's good to see it. But, I will say that, I believe I've seen the CEO of Uber say, hey, we'll partner with Tesla if they'll have us. And Elon shot it down. They don't need them. And it's not like a nick at them. It's just why scale it bigger when you can just own the whole process, right? The whole supply chain and everything. So
I think
not
Elon believes correctly that partnering with Uber would actually slow them down and they would make less money. It's like, why would you do the thing that's going to make you go slower and make less money?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uber has to have their cut. They got to get their taste. And this partnership is very weird to me. It's three companies that all think they're the ones who are going to be making a markup, and maybe all three of them are. And if they are, it's going to be $9 a mile for the ride. I don't know who plans to trim there. Lucid doesn't have the margin to trim. And this company, they're saying we've got proven level 4 autonomy, and I've been scouring the web for days to try and find much evidence of that. They've got this little compact kind of goofy golf cart vehicle that's been apparently doing deliveries for years. But even online, I can only find a handful of pictures of it. Maybe they were non-consecutive years. I don't know. And of course, they've got their proving grounds where they've been running a car on a test track by itself, which proves it can safely operate on a closed course by itself. So I don't know. I don't know enough about the company to have any confidence in their autonomous approach. And the rest of the partnership is also not super exciting.
Yeah, it's given desperation. So all this reminds me of is when early on when everybody was partnering with, I don't remember all those truck companies that were like making electric vehicles. Like everybody was like, I'm buying into this, and GM dumped like $4 billion. I mean, it was getting crazy, man. Like, and now this is just the next shiny thing that people just want to be able to throw their money at and be like, no, we're really making changes. Just swear.
Yeah, I mean, in this, Hans, you want to go?
I would agree that, obviously the market opportunity, it makes sense to invest to try and capture some of it. It's just that the likelihood that, these specific partnerships and deals and companies are going to be able to execute is pretty low. I've been expecting a deal with one of the US EV makers. I honestly thought Rivian would be the first one to announce a deal like this over Lucid. I don't know what these companies are doing.
Especially with the R1S, it's kind of weird. Whatever.
Yep.
I would think, though, at least in my opinion, if the R2 was closer to being in production, that you'd probably hear about something. There's probably stuff happening in the background but the R2 makes the most sense, not necessarily the R1S, in my opinion. But what I was going to say is that Uber is kind of like an AI right now, in that it's kind of like the situation that's happening right now. It's kind of like what's happening with AI, where everyone that is creating some type of AI chatbot, they need a device to essentially leech onto, to essentially have a catalyst for. And the thing is that in this situation, Uber doesn't have one. It's with Waymo, but Waymo, again, you're going to run into a scale situation. And so I think it makes sense that Uber continues to partner with 3 or 4 different people to hopefully see who kind of wins out. Because do I think that it's going to be Tesla only in robotaxi? Of course not. I think there's going to be 3 or 4 other players as well, but we'll see. at least just like we're seeing with the EV market. But I will say that Tesla is so far ahead that it's just this is not surprising that stuff is happening and people throwing money at it. But I think it's Tesla's the one that's going to win at the end, as far as like being able to scale, having the full business model from start to finish, soup to nuts, as we say. They're going to own the supply chain, the process, the app, everything. And it's going to be really hard to kind of take for every dollar that, let's say, Uber makes, and they got to pay Lucid, they got to pay themselves, then they got to pay for the actual devices that they purchased. It's just going to be hard to manage that and scale it. Joe, this one's to you.
Yeah, this is to Brian. This is hilarious. I mean, the comedy of this is just... Go ahead, Brian.
Well, so here's the deal. We've got these efficiency standards, which have been nudging manufacturers for years to make slightly more efficient vehicles. And the efficiency standards finally reach a point where you can't meet them just by making economical cars. The kind of cars that would actually hit these targets are the kind of cars people are less likely to buy. You'd become a very small car maker if you did. You've got to mix in a whole bunch of electric vehicles to hit these targets. And if you don't, you've got two options. You can either pay a fine or negotiate with someone who's made enough of them that you can buy their credits. Well, the current administration doesn't like that idea. And they are unable to just erase that. What they were able to do was reduce the penalty to zero. So the penalty is still there. It just doesn't have a dollar attached to it. So like, imagine if speeding tickets were still legal, but the speeding ticket costs $0. No one's going to pay any attention to it. Longer term, this might not have a big impact. These companies know that in 3.5 years, it could flip again. And probably if someone else comes in, that's something that would probably happen. And even if it doesn't, even if they remain at zero, which hurts Tesla, which hurts Lucid, which hurts Rivian, even if it were to go back up from zero, even if it were to stay at zero, they know that they need to be able to sell cars in other countries where efficiency standards are more important, where not all laws are handwritten by the fossil fuel industry. So they would so this is a big deal for the big three. It's going to allow them to continue making big, high margin gas guzzlers. They're going to get the biggest boost out of this. Tesla will lose a whole bunch of ZEV credits, which is a considerable amount of money. But it's worth noting that not all of Tesla's ZEV credits come from the U.S. and not all of them are distributed at the based on federal standards. Some of them may be state by state, although they're attacking that as well. So those credits will be greatly diminished moving forward. But we shouldn't act surprised. Before the election, this is something that the party ran on. So yeah, just crazy.
Crazy times.
I'll just note real quickly that I think that, one of the things that Elon used to talk about that he hasn't talked about in a long time, he says fossil fuel industry gets all kinds of subsidies. And I think in his conception of subsidies is the fossil fuel companies are able to externalize costs that are hidden and that don't, they're not fully accounted for, that, all of the costs for healthcare, if you live in a city and you have to breathe smog all day long and you have health issues that develop as a result of that, which is, a well-studied, well-documented, well-established fact, that, the companies that make the cars, the companies that make the fuel, all of these things, they don't have to actually pay for any of those costs. And so there are a lot of things that, maybe I think Elon isn't using very exact language when he's talking about them. But the reason that this ZEV market was set up was to help try to actually bring a free market solution to actually make these companies have to pay for costs that they are imposing on other people. So I think this is, in my opinion, a free market fail on the current administration. I know a lot of other people will disagree, But yeah, it is frustrating because I think this was something that was actually helpful in actually allowing the free market to operate in a way that all the incentives align for every player, not just the fossil fuel industry.
So let's just hit on two main topics and then we'll end with the X takeover push as well. All right. So top 10 EVs in the US for Q2. Obviously Tesla and the Tesla at the top, with multiple amounts higher, 2 to 3x, if not greater than some of these other ones that are at the top. But I just wanted to call out that, again, that even though that the U.S. market overall is declining by 6%, Tesla continues to be a big multiple ahead a lot of these companies. So go ahead. And
Yeah, I would add to that. On this list, 4 of those cars are made in Mexico. The Equinox, the Blazer, the Prologue, and the Mach-E are all made in Mexico. If those tariffs are to remain, it is going to destroy those sales. You can't add 10, 20, 30% to the price of those cars over today's retail costs and expect to sell them. So you're either going to sell them at a loss or, I don't know, close down the factory, stop selling them into the US, just focus on Canada. Doesn't seem like enough production. That list is going to be moving around a bit next year.
Dang, that's crazy to think about.
all right. And then the last main topic that I want to get kind of the panel's opinion on is Tesla India. They're officially there. I remember Jeff Lutz and even Amy back in the day. They were just talking about all of the scheming that could happen going through Korea to get into India, but here we are. Tesla is finally in India. They have one store open, and they have officially launched the Model Y there. But what do you guys thinking about this market? Obviously, I think they need to do a couple more things to make this car even more affordable. But what are your guys' thoughts on this?
Well,
I think.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
I think people will talk about the income of the area, but there's so many millionaires out there I don't think they're going to have a problem selling the units that they need to sell.
I have seen the figure between 750 and 850,000 millionaires. If you look at, when you're talking about the top 1%, 2% of a population in terms of income, well, in India, they've got over 1 billion people. That's a few people who may be in a position to buy something like this. The price they're importing them at is $70,000 and $80,000, depending on the trim, which means they're paying the full 100% import tariff because they have not made any plans to open a factory. If they do that, they can then import 10,000 vehicles a year duty free for, I think, 4 or 5 years. I think it's 5. That's not a lot of units. I imagine they would prefer to reserve those imports for something like a Cybertrucks or Model S's and X's where the dollars are that much higher. But even at 70,000, 80,000, the reviews that I've seen from the press in India are still very enthusiastic. So it appears that there is an appetite for this vehicle. Now they just need to build out some charging infrastructure. India is a lot bigger than it may appear on a map because of the way we distort maps to fit a flat space. But it is the beginning. And hopefully this gets their foot in the door in a way that makes sense. Or if it doesn't, that they don't lose much money on a small effort.
100%. And then, of course, Grok 4's here, PhD level. Check it out. All right. So, big thing coming up literally 1 week from today. People will have started their factory tours if they won the lottery. But we are in full X takeover planning mode, as we have been really for the past really like 10 months. We've been just getting ready for this, but the past couple weeks have been insanely busy. So shout out to Kelvin, who's just been working his full-time tech job along with getting this thing up and running. So and then great people like Steven and Joe behind the scenes helping out. So this is the largest Tesla community and SpaceX community event in the world. It's happening in San Mateo. We have a drone and light show happening next Friday night by Simon and the Northern Drone Light Show team as well. Or sorry, Northern Lights Drone Show. And then the next day, we have literally back to back the whole day. There's not even breaks. We have panel discussions going, and 3 really things that I can speak about. 2 keynote speakers that are coming as well, along with both Brian, Hans, and Joe will be playing key roles in making the day happen, whether it's panel discussions. I know Joe will be emceeing and getting things done behind the scenes as well, running the merch booth too. If you have a jacket, I don't think, oh yeah, got it here. You can only get these at the event, so really, really cool. It's got all of Elon's companies, some cool statements as well. So if you want to come through, how much are these jackets? I think $100. Cool. $100 bomber jackets, really cool. But again, and then I don't know, Brian, do you want to give a quick plug about your discussion?
Oh, no, not yet. We've got, so my discussion is going to be, I'm moderating a panel with Whole Mars Catalog with Hans C. Nelson, a handsome fellow
Who's
hiding
that?
over here.
71453.
And Farzad will be in there as well. We are going to be discussing a number of exciting things, most likely Cybercab itself, maybe Robotaxi more broadly, but we've been working to get our preparation done. I like to prepare. It's why my panels go well. It's going to be amazing. So please join us for that. We'd love to see you there. We'd love to get you in the audience to ask you questions.
Yeah, this will be after the earnings call too, so it'll be pretty good discussion.
Yeah, because they'll have a lot of updates probably on the Robotaxi and stuff. But yeah, if you have not, if you can make it, so we will only be live streaming the keynotes. But all of these discussions will be coming out shortly after, once we do some of the clipping and editing. But, if you have been to this event or have heard Brian, he does an amazing job leading these panel discussions. Always a great one. You've handed me your little journal that I've seen, so I know the research that goes into it because, but either way, we would love to see you guys. And I just want to give a shout out. So go to xtakeover.com. But I want to give a shout out to Joe for all of the promotion he's been doing for the event, some of the amazing videos. They're always hilarious. And then just for Brian and Hans for being a great host each week on this panel. It's always a great discussion. And so thank you guys for your time. And we hope to see you guys all next week. I think let's just plan for it. I mean, I might be at the event itself, but I would love to we should do an on-site live streaming. We can still be from computers or whatever, but if you guys are around, I don't know. I know some of you guys are flying in, so we'll see who we can get there, even if it's a small one. Maybe we can even just focus on what are we going to see at the event, maybe a little bit on the earnings call. Just depends on everyone's schedule.
Works for me.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys
Later.